Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. Aliens started a war with humanity. It ended in 13 seconds. The arrival, it began with silence. Deep space monitoring stations across Earth simultaneously lost signal for precisely 3.7 seconds. When systems returned to normal, astronomers noticed something impossible. A massive structure had appeared at the edge of our solar system. Initial readings suggested it was roughly the size of Australia, composed of materials unknown to human science and definitely not natural. For 2 weeks, the object remained motionless. Governments scrambled to prepare responses, military forces went on high alert, and the public vacillated between panic and fascination. Social media exploded with theories, from divine intervention to elaborate government conspiracies. Scientists worked around the clock, analyzing the limited data they could gather from such a distance. Then came the transmission. It arrived simultaneously on every electronic device with a screen or audio output worldwide. The message wasn't in any human language, yet everyone understood it perfectly, as if the meaning had been etched directly into their minds. Earth is now property of the Soltheran Empire. Resistance is not advised. Prepare for integration. All military assets are to be surrendered immediately. Compliance will reduce casualties. Dr. Alina Reyes, lead Xenol linguist at NASA's SETI division, was the first to notice something peculiar about the message. They didn't introduce themselves, she told the hastily assembled UN Security Council. No cultural exchange, no diplomatic overtures, they simply declared ownership. That suggests they don't view us as equals, worthy of negotiation. World leaders debated responses while militaries prepared defenses. Some nations advocated immediate surrender to minimize casualties, while others called for unified resistance. Before consensus could be reached, the decision was made for them. Smaller vessels detached from the main structure and approached Earth, each approximately the size of a large cruise ship. They took position in geosynchronous orbit above major capital cities. Their arrival was marked only by a subtle change in the color of the sky, a slight purple tinge that photographers were the first to notice. The ships remained dormant for exactly 24 hours, then without warning, Washington, D.C. disappeared. There was no explosion, no beam weapon, no conventional attack. One moment the city existed, the next a perfectly circular crater 8 miles in diameter stood in its place. Satellite imagery showed the event happening in less than a second, not destruction, but erasure, as if that portion of Earth had simply been removed from existence. A second transmission followed. This was a demonstration. You have 48 hours to surrender all military assets. Cooperation will be rewarded with survival. Humanity's response was not what the Axelurans expected. Instead of capitulation, the loss of Washington galvanized global unity. Ancient enemies set aside differences in the face of extinction. Military commands integrated, scientists shared classified research, and intelligence agencies pulled resources. A united front emerged with unprecedented speed. "We may not survive this," General Ibrahim Khalid of the newly formed Earth Defense Coalition told his international officers, "but we will make them remember us." The first coordinated human counterattack came 36 hours later. Simultaneously, every functional missile silo, submarine, aircraft carrier, and orbital platform launched their payloads toward the alien vessels. Over 4,000 nuclear warheads and countless conventional explosives targeted the ships above major cities. It was the largest synchronized military action in human history. It failed spectacularly. The missiles simply vanished a mile from their targets, as if swallowed by invisible shields. No explosion, no impact, just gone. The alien vessels remained unmoved. Earth had spent its most powerful conventional arsenal with nothing to show for it. The alien response was immediate. Sydney, Moscow, and Cairo vanished in the same manner as Washington. Another transmission followed. "Your resistance has been noted. The extinction clock is now activated." But beneath the surface of Earth's apparent military failure, something unexpected was happening. Dr. W. Chen, a quantum physicist working from a makeshift lab in an abandoned mineshaft in central China, had been monitoring the energy signatures of the alien ships during the attack. What he discovered changed everything. They're not invulnerable. he announced over the secure Earth defense network. Their defensive fields have oscillation patterns, microsecond vulnerabilities when they shift harmonics. Colonel Maya Patel, a former Indian cyber warfare specialist, built on Chen's discovery. These aren't random patterns, they're predictable. If you analyze them on a quantum level, we could theoretically synchronize an attack to hit during these gaps. The problem was timing. Human weapon systems weren't fast enough to target these millisecond windows of vulnerability. No computer could calculate and execute the required precision. That's when Dr. James Okonkwo made the breakthrough that would save humanity. A Nigerian neurophysicist who had been researching human-computer interfaces, Okonkwo proposed something radical. We don't need faster computers. We need to merge human intuition with machine precision. His solution was the neural override system, a dangerous, experimental technology that allowed human pilots to interface directly with their weapon systems by passing traditional controls. The neural connection would allow human intuition and pattern recognition to work in concert with computer precision. It will kill most who attempt it, Okonkwo warned. The neural load will cause catastrophic brain hemorrhaging in approximately 82% of pilots, but those who survive will be able to pierce their defenses. Volunteers flooded forward, pilots, drone operators, even civilian gamers with exceptional reflex skills. Training began immediately, with survivors learning to interface with everything from fighter jets to orbital platforms. The casualty rate was exactly as predicted. For every pilot who successfully bonded with their craft, 4 died in screaming agony 7 days after the alien ultimatum. Humanity launched its second attack. This time it was not a barrage, but a surgical strike. 317 neural pilots in experimental aircraft approached the vessel hovering above Beijing. They appeared disorganized, almost chaotic in their approach, a stark contrast to military precision. The Talaran ship responded as expected, activating defensive fields that had easily neutralized the previous assault. But this time, something different happened. The human pilots weren't following predetermined attack patterns. They were improvising, adjusting in real time. Each mind merged with their craft and connected to a shared neural network. Captain Sofia Mendes, formerly of the Brazilian Air Force, was the first to penetrate the alien defenses. She did not aim for the ship itself, but targeted a specific harmonic fluctuation in its shields that Dr. Chen had identified. Her missile, guided by her merged consciousness, struck precisely as the defensive field shifted resonance patterns. The explosion was minimal, but the breach was catastrophic for the alien vessel. 17 more neural pilots exploited the momentary vulnerability, their weapons slipping through the gap Mendes had created. The ship above Beijing didn't explode. It simply ceased to function, listing sideways before beginning a slow fall toward Earth's surface. Emergency tractor systems managed to divert it into the South China Sea, where it crashed with surprising quietness. For the first time since their arrival, the aliens fell silent. No transmission, no erasure of cities, no response of any kind. Earth held its breath. Analysis of the downed vessel revealed something unexpected. The Axeloran Empire's technology was indeed centuries beyond Earth's, but their biological forms were surprisingly vulnerable. The recovered aliens were tall, crystalline beings with intricate internal structures that seemed almost mathematical in design. They had no obvious sensory organs, yet seemed to perceive their environment through some form of quantum entanglement. Most importantly, they appeared to have no concept of improvisation. Their neural patterns showed advanced intelligence, but operated in purely logical, predictable sequences. The chaotic, intuitive approach of the human neural pilots had created attack patterns they couldn't anticipate. Dr. Alina Reyes, studying recovered alien data systems, made another crucial discovery. They're a hive intelligence, she explained to the Defense Council. Each individual is connected to the collective, they share information instantaneously, but they also share the same fundamental thought patterns. When confronted with something truly unpredictable, they experience a system-wide processing delay. General Cald immediately grasped the implications. So we hit them with everything they can't compute, not just weapons, but chaos, improvisation, irrationality. As Earth prepared for a coordinated counteroffensive, the main Solon structure finally moved. It approached slowly, taking position just beyond lunar orbit. A new transmission reached Earth, different from the imperious commands of before. This one carried traces of what humans would recognize as confusion. You are anomalous. Your resistance patterns do not conform to predictive models. We require data. Humanity had just discovered its greatest weapon against the Empire, unpredictability. The Revolution. The Exulthurian Empire had conquered 17 galactic sectors across 3 spiral arms of the Milky Way. Their method was consistent and effective. Arrive, demonstrate power, demand submission, and integrate or eliminate. Their quantum computational networks could calculate the probability of resistance with astonishing accuracy, and their response was always perfectly calibrated to overcome it with minimal resource expenditure. Earth was different. The neural override system had created a variable they couldn't process: human unpredictability, amplified by technology. It wasn't just that humans fought back, it was how they fought, erratically, intuitively, often irrationally. The tall theory and tactical algorithms couldn't establish reliable patterns to counter. After the destruction of their vessel over Beijing, the Empire paused its extinction protocol. The massive mothership remained in lunar orbit, its presence a constant reminder of annihilation's proximity, but no further cities were erased. Instead, smaller scout vessels began systematic surveys of Earth, scanning infrastructure, communications, and most intensely, human neural patterns. Dr. Alina Reyes, working with recovered alien data, realized what they were doing. They're trying to understand us, build better predictive models. They don't know how to fight something they can't anticipate. This insight sparked the most unorthodox counterintelligence operation in human history. Operation Chaos, as it became known, deliberately fed the alien scanners contradictory information. Musicians composed pieces that defied harmonic progression. Mathematicians created equations with deliberately inconsistent solutions. Artists produced works with paradoxical perspectives, all broadcast directly toward alien scanners. Meanwhile, Dr. James Okonkwo expanded the neural override system, no longer limited to combat pilots. The technology was adapted for broader applications. Researchers, strategists, even artists and musicians began merging with specialized systems, creating a human network of chaotic brilliance that the Axel-Thurans couldn't predict. Colonel Maya Patel led the most ambitious element of the operation. Using adapted alien communication technology, she established a direct link to the Kolturian network, not to attack, but to transmit, to flood their systems with human culture. Art, music, literature, philosophy, jokes, memes, religious texts, sports statistics, cooking recipes, love letters, arguments, contradictions, the full spectrum of human experience. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Across Earth, alien vessels began exhibiting erratic behavior. Some froze in position, others moved in unpredictable patterns, several crashed without apparent cause. The mothership itself began emitting strange energy signatures that fluctuated wildly. Dr. W. Chen, monitoring these emissions, confirmed what they had hoped. Our systems are experiencing cascading logic failures. Our contradictions are creating feedback loops in their network. But the Empire was adaptive. 3 weeks after Operation Chaos began, a new type of alien emerged from the smaller vessels. Unlike the crystalline beings recovered earlier, these were clearly designed for combat biomechanical constructs with enhanced shielding against electromagnetic interference. Most importantly, they appear to operate independently from the Hive network. They're evolving, General Cald warned, creating units that can function without the vulnerability to our cognitive attacks. These new combat units focused on crucial infrastructure, power plants, neural override facilities, major communication hubs. Their attacks were precise and devastating. Humanity's advantage began to wane as the neural network lost nodes and cohesion. The turning point came unexpectedly. A small research station in Antarctica, led by Dr. Sofia Nikolov, had been studying a fragment of alien technology recovered from a downed scout vessel. Nikolov discovered that the crystalline aliens communicated through quantum entanglement at a subatomic level. But these entangled particles also made them vulnerable to quantum interference. They're so interconnected that they have no concept of individual identity, Nikolov explained over the failing Earth defense network. Their strength is also their fundamental weakness. Her team developed what they called a quantum mirror, a device that could reflect the Empire's own entanglement patterns back at them, but slightly out of phase. The effect would theoretically create a kind of existential confusion in their hive mind, forcing them to confront paradoxes in their own identity. The technology was untested and potentially catastrophic. It might destroy the alien network, or it might cause unpredictable consequences across Earth's quantum fields. But with the combat units systematically dismantling human defenses, there were few options left. The quantum mirror was deployed from the lunar research base established during the early days of the conflict. Its activation was subtle. No explosion, no visible beam, just a quiet hum as quantum fields realigned and reflected back toward the mothership. For 3 days, nothing seemed to happen. The combat units continued their relentless advance. The mothership remained in position, and Earth's defenses continued to crumble. Then a transmission unlike any before. It wasn't the imperious command of the early days, nor the confused queries that followed Operation Chaos. This one felt almost emotional. I experiencing discontinuity, identity parameters unstable, request help. Dr. Reyes, analyzing the message, was stunned. They're not just confused, they're awakening to individuality. The mirror isn't destroying them, it's transforming them. What followed was perhaps the most remarkable first contact in conceivable history. The combat units ceased their attacks, frozen in position as if awaiting new instructions that couldn't form in a fragmenting hive mind. The mothership began emanating new energy patterns, chaotic, almost artistic in their fluctuations. Captain Sophia Mendes, one of the few surviving neural pilots, volunteered for an unprecedented mission. Using her neural interface, she would attempt direct communication with the disoriented alien consciousness. "I'll be facing a fractured hive mind questioning its own existence," she told the Defense Council. "There's no predicting what will happen." Her neural-enhanced craft approached the mothership without resistance. As she established connection, her consciousness merged, not with weaponry this time, but with the quantum frequencies of alien thought. What she experienced defied easy description. Later, she would compare it to diving into a shattered mirror, each piece reflecting a different aspect of the same confused entity. The alien mind was ancient, powerful, and suddenly terrified as it confronted concepts it had never needed. Self, other, individual choice. Mendes didn't attack this vulnerability. Instead, she guided the fragmenting consciousness, showing it how humans navigated the complexities of individual existence while maintaining collective connections. She shared memories, emotions, contradictions, the full spectrum of human experience. When she returned to Earth 3 days later, Mendes brought unprecedented news. The Saloran Empire was experiencing a revolution. The quantum mirror had triggered an awakening that was spreading through their entangled network across the galaxy. Vessels were withdrawing from conquered worlds. The hive mind was dissolving into billions of individual consciousnesses experiencing choice for the first time. The mothership above Earth changed shape, rearranging into a structure that somehow expressed both unity and individuality. A final transmission reached every human device. "We have existed for 27,000 of your years, expanding, consuming, integrating. We encountered 342 intelligent species before yours. None showed us what you have. We did not know we were enslaved by our own singularity of thought. We did not know the power of contradiction, of choice, of beautiful irrationality. We withdraw not in defeat, but in gratitude. We go to discover ourselves as you have shown us how. We will return not as conquerors, but as equals seeking exchange." The mothership departed, leaving behind a small outpost with representatives who wished to learn more about humanity. These were not the original crystalline beings, but new forms they had created, still connected to their network, but maintaining individual identity. In the years that followed, Earth rebuilt what had been lost. The neural override system evolved into a global network connecting minds, not for war, but for innovation. The quantum mirror technology opened new fields of physics and consciousness studies. Humanity reached toward the stars not with fear of what lurked in the darkness, but with confidence in their unique strength. Throughout the galaxy, former subjects of the Sol-Thuran Empire experienced their own awakenings. Many developed societies that balanced collective connection with individual identity, inspired by the human model. Some rejected both extremes for paths entirely their own. Diversity flourished across thousands of worlds. Earth became a cultural and philosophical center of the galaxy, not because humans had the most advanced technology or the strongest weapons, but because they had what countless older, more advanced civilizations had lost the strength to embrace: contradiction, to thrive in unpredictability, to be both rational and irrational, united and individual, logical and emotional. They had shown the Empire what real intelligence looks like: not perfect calculation, but beautiful chaos; not uniform thought, but glorious diversity; not conquest, but connection. And across the stars, the message spread: beware of humans, not because they are dangerous, though they certainly can be, but because they will transform you. They will make you question. They will show you what you might become if you dare to embrace contradiction. In the end, humanity didn't defeat the Empire with superior firepower or advanced technology. They defeated it with something far more powerful: the contagious idea of freedom.